Well, happy end of Easter! Perfect time to talk about League of Legends politics. And so just like that, we got some decently big news straight out of the oven. I'm saying they are big because technically, structurally, we are talking about a big change. But the truth is, if you are just a player and you're not investing in anything that Riot does, you're not gonna feel anything. But of course, we are talking about the news that Hoby Darling joins Riot Games as its president. Why are these news so talked about, especially around League of Legends? Well, that's because he will be replacing Jadeja. Actually, a pretty big correction for the League of Legends community. People think he is replacing Dylan, but the truth is that League kinda lacked president until now, and the community keeps thinking that the president and the CEO are the same role. They are not. Anyway, continuing about Jadeja, who, especially around the League of Legends audience, has had quite a few posts made about him. And so, once again, it is time for context. All of this started going on right as the Hextech debacle happened. The progression was slow, Blue Essence were not that amazing, and League of Legends was not in a great spot, despite Riot already planning some great things with the seasons. And that is where we got an appreciation post on Reddit about Jadeja, who at the time was the CEO of Riot Games. Now remember, before him, the CEO was Nicolo, with Nicolo being the one who said that League is getting the biggest budget ever. And then he left the company the exact same year. So sure, we can make a lot of jokes about Dylan, but that meme is not actually him. Anyway, this post tried to summarize what happened under Dylan until that time. 500 employees laid off, Riot Forge killed, limited time only skins for FOMO, end of level up capsules, decent mythic essence acquisition, Hextech chests, introduction of predatory gacha, degradation of skin quality, nerfed battle pass, removal of honor orbs and capsules, degradation of clash events, removal of your shop. Please comment kind words to show your support. Hopefully we will see more of these great changes. The great news here is, technically, I think those changes ended. But yes, at the time, people were frustrated with League of Legends because it started having many different problems. And so of course, people turned towards the CEO. Now, what's hilarious is that 2 years ago, there was another post the day Dylan actually joined Riot as the CEO. And there, people were kinda supportive. Nicolo guided Riot through a lot of good and bad times. I feel Dylan is being handed a company with a lot of good and bad going on. Being the COO and president of Riot Games for the last while won't change much overall. But the next 4 to 5 years will see if Riot is able to expand even further in the media world. Was this posted after the hype of Arcane? Because yes, originally, people were kinda fine. And then things didn't work out. And that's where we need to talk about a really big thing. You see, a president of Riot Games, or a CEO, doesn't really handle the games. And so when the League of Legends community is celebrating that Riot is getting a new president, the truth is, the old president didn't really do anything with League. All the higher positions at Riot usually deal with the overall management and the structuring at the company, making sure you have enough people to start up new projects, or firing people. And so if you want to serve them that there were a lot of layoffs which are their fault, you'd be correct. But if you want to say that Dylan was responsible for Sanuzal Mordekaiser, remember that Riot has more games. They are dealing with League, they are dealing with Wild Rift. Technically, there is TFT, there is Valorant, there is Legends of Runeterra. Now there is 2XKO, and there are still a bunch of other games that are being worked on. So a president at Riot Games or a CEO is overlooking the structure of everything. Which means, and I really don't want to say this because people are gonna use this in a really bad way, but if you want to complain about what's happening in League of Legends, you should be focusing more on people around League of Legends. The bad thing is that people who have no idea what's going on, they will just focus on any rider at all, and so, yeah, dealing with League's community just sucks. But most people ignore that, and right now we will do the same. Because what we should be focusing on is the official post from Riot Games, which let us know that there is a new president. And oh boy, let's dive into that. This comes from April 21st, which is literally yesterday, and it says, what you need to know. Hoby Darling has spent his career at the intersection of sports, tech, and creative culture, leading brands known for pursuing creative and performance boundaries. As president, Hoby will partner with teams across the company to help writers dream big, unlock creativity, and serve players around the world. Hoby has held senior leadership roles at Logitech, Skullcandy or Astro Gaming, Nike, I'm not sure which one is worse, and Volcom. Now this is immediately where a lot of people paused. Because let's be honest, Nike, quite a successful company, also a company with not the best reputation when it comes to practices in general. But more than that, people realized the president of Riot Games is not someone who's really dealing with games. And so what's immediately connected to that is the fact that, people were hoping that the next CEO or president would be a bit less corporate. And what we got from the first few sentences is the fact that, yes, the next leader is more likely corporate. And so the post continues. As part of Logitech's global executive team, he led several portfolio companies and co-founded a new division focused on serving esports athletes, creators, and the future of play. Now this is perhaps the biggest link we have to gaming in general. We are talking about esports and Logitech, and let's be honest for a second. Everyone has used their cheap webcams at least once, and then it goes into Nike. As a senior leader at Nike, he helped shape the future of sport in both IRL and URL worlds, sparked athlete-led innovation, and also worked with Nike portfolio companies like Converse or Cole Haan. Now this is where people realized another thing. Here we are mostly talking about stuff like collaborations and merchandising and selling expensive things. Which is where the League of Legends audience justifiably got really worried. Because if there is one thing that is currently happening around League of Legends, it is selling expensive things. But again, we are not exactly sure to what extent these higher roles reach here. But from this description, it means that we are still allocating different budgets to different projects around Riot Games. Meaning that indirectly, it is possible that they might say, hey, League needs to make bigger profits because we need to allocate this kind of money somewhere else, which would push the League team to sell more gacha stuff. But don't worry, the post then continues with some more gaming. As CEO of Skullcandy and Astro Gaming, he brought together gaming, music, art and action sports while building Astro into a global leader in premium gaming gear. Again, people are kinda getting a PTSD from premium, but I think here it has a slightly different meaning, thankfully. And as leader of Volcom, he helped grow the skate, snow, surf company into a global lifestyle brand. Now, if there is something I can agree on, it's that League of Legends is a lifestyle, I guess. One that destroys you mentally. Which is where the post goes into some quotes. First, there is a quote from Hoby. The first time I walked into Riot, I felt a scrappy, soulful and courageous energy I knew I needed to be part of. I have worked with a lot of companies and there's something special about a place that takes risks, challenges convention, and stays fiercely committed to its mission. Riot has a long history of creating experiences that truly matter to players. And I couldn't be more excited to work alongside passionate writers who push each other to do their best work every day. Now, this does kinda read corporate, doesn't it? Well, people noticed there is a reason for this. If you really dig into this, Riot is getting another CEO or someone at a higher management who is from a totally different field with other companies in their portfolio. What used to happen is that Riot would just elevate people into the higher positions because those people know what is going on at the company. But now the players feel like Riot hired someone who is just totally different. And I'll be honest, I totally get that. The counter-argument here is that it is possible that there are not a lot of writers who actually want those positions, and so Riot has to just get someone else to manage the company. But still, right now, everyone feels like this is kinda iffy. And so time will tell what's actually gonna happen with Riot. My expectation is not much, Again, the roles of CEOs and presidents are not really dealing with the specific games. It's making sure those games actually have teams that work on those games. But in the last part of the post, we also got a leaving quote from Dylan, who is not actually leaving. Here's the twist. Dylan still stays as Riot, and I believe he is the CEO or COO, one of those. The problem is, this piece of news is not really confirmed in this post. That is outside information which people got on Twitter. But the quote says, Hoby has spent his career at companies that serve the most passionate communities there are, from sports to gaming and beyond. He knows how to bring out the best in teams, and he'll help Rioters tap into their creativity, sharpen their focus, and channel their competitive fire. Most importantly, he understands the importance of nurturing our creative heart, and will challenge us to keep raising the bar for each other and for players. Which is where the post ends, and that's where we learn, well, things started turning pretty well for games like League of Legends. And now there is a chance the times might change. Or again not, because these positions are just totally random. And so once again, a bit of a darker cloud lands around League of Legends as players are nothing but confused. Is this gonna have a positive effect since the last post we got? I don't know. Is it gonna have a negative effect because now we are getting someone who is not used to Riot games that much? I don't know. And so if you go around the internet, you can see that people are just as much confused. But throughout all of this, I can tell you one thing for certain. Despite these roles having to take care of all the teams at Riot Games, should something bad happen in League of Legends specifically, we all know who's gonna get the blame.